Clip from our big NHL opening night show, baby. We're back. Check out the entire show. Hit the link at the bottom of the screen. It's available exclusively on odds.com. Let's go Rams again. LA Rams, 10-6, 4-4 in the regular season, 4-4 on the road at the Packers, 13-3, 7-1 at home. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the weather, like it's been all year, is pretty good across North America. 31 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, just 9 miles per hour is the wind that we are dealing with. On Bet365, Green Bay opens up at minus 7.5. That moves to 6.5, slightly juiced. This total opened up at 46. It's now at 45.5. Bebsy, we'll start with the Rams, and then we will work our way through. Rams are coming off a 30-20 wildcard win in Seattle. Their defense was very strong despite not having Aaron Donald for most of the second half due to a rib injury. He is expected to play for the Rams on Saturday. McVay expects him to be there. Leonard Floyd had 2 of the Rams' 5 sacks. 2 others belong to Donald. Rams allowed just 278 total yards, 11 first downs. They held the Seahawks to just 2 for 14 on third down. John Wolford started for the second straight week, but injured his neck early. They pulled him. He was taken to the hospital for a precaution, but he came back, celebrated with the team in the locker room. Wolford was just 3-6, 29 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Goff came in, and with that injured thumb, didn't make mistakes. 9 of 19, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He certainly didn't look good, but that was less than 2 weeks after undergoing surgery on his right thumb. Cam Akers was great. 28 for 131 yards, 1 TD, and surprisingly enough, the best rushing day by a Rams running back since Marshall Faulk in 2002. Crazy. Falk went for 159 that day. Cooper Kupp, 4 of 78. He was grabbing his right knee in the closing minutes. Said it swelled up right after the game, but the swelling's gone down. He expects to play. Wolford is expected to be available as well. McVay has not announced the starting quarterback. He's going to wait until the game day for that. Left guard David Edwards also left with Achilles tendonitis. If he can't play, Bobby Evans will make his first start of the season. Evans started 7 games as a rookie last season. So on their official list, Whitworth, Terrell Lewis, and are both sitting there as questionable. They didn't play last week. No word if they're able to come in. And that pretty much caps it, Bebsy. What did you think about the Rams' win over the Seahawks? And does the move, that 1-point move towards the Rams against the Packers, make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on Sunday. I was mad that a lot of the things I said would happen happened, but I didn't bet them. And the Rams winning was one of them. I had a good feeling about the Rams. We talked about how well they matched up against Seattle. And to be honest with you, I like them again this week. My biggest concerns about the Rams are this. Aaron Donald has a fractured rib. I don't care how great of a football player you are and how much of an animal you are. That's a problem, okay? Especially a guy who's playing on the line. You don't think that the Green Bay Packers O-linemen are aware of that, and they're going to be hitting that every opportunity they can. So I figure he will play. They'll pump him up full of something, get him out on the field, but he's going to be taking a lot of punishment, and I think he'll have limited snaps. The other huge question is Jared Goff playing in the snow with pins in his thumb. Jared Goff isn't a good player at the best of times. He's not great in the snow or in the cold, and now he has a thumb issue. I really hope Wolford is available and he can play because I think they'll struggle with Goff, but I really like I like the way the Rams are built, and I do believe Ramsey will play and he'll play meaningful snaps. And the other thing to factor in is when Aaron Donald came out, they still were able to manage a ton of pressure, which just speaks volumes to the depth of their D. You think a guy like Aaron Donald comes out and they'll fall apart, but they really closed out that game well.
Well, the Czar says Ramsey will shut down Adams. Let's talk about the Packers and then decide if decisions should be made.
The Czar's not wrong.
Packers team is healthy, and they believe in themselves. The only news that came out of Green Bay the last week is that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a guest host on Jeopardy. This year, he completed 70.7% of his passes, 4,299 yards, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Devontae Adams caught 115 passes for 1,374 yards, 8 touchdowns. Marquez Valdes-Scantling caught 33 passes for 690 yards, 6 touchdowns. Tight end Robert Tonyan became very dangerous weapon for this team, 52 catches, 586 yards, 11 touchdowns. Aaron Jones ran 201 times for 1,104 yards, 9 touchdowns. Jamal Williams ran 119 times for 505 yards, 2 touchdowns. If they needed, A.J. Dillon is sitting there as the third stringer. Zadarius Smith had 12.5 of Green Bay's 41 sacks. He was a limited participant in Tuesday's practice with ankle thumb injuries, but he's expected to be there. Cornerback Kevin King was limited participant with an Achilles injury. Alan Lazard, core wrist, was limited, but they're all expected to be in the lineup. I am Dave S. says, Jimmy, you drinking coffee? I have been off the sauce for a few days. I don't know if you can tell by my cheery attitude.
You do have a glow about you tonight, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Bebsy, everybody in the chat, everybody is sitting here on the Rams. I am surprised by this. I saw a victory against a questionable Seahawks team, and people are drinking the Rams juice. Talk to me about your expectations of the Packers, and then tell me if there is a move for you to make.
Well, look, the Packers, a lot of people are talking about them having an inflated record again, like they did last year. I don't think it's quite like it was last year. I think they've played better defensively overall. Jair Alexander's quietly been phenomenal this year. The Smith brothers also, I hate calling them the Smith brothers because the original Smith brothers was Alden Smith and Justin Smith. So Preston and Zadarius are obviously playing great football, but the strength of their team has been their offense. And now this number one offense is going up against this number one defense. But I'll liken it a bit to the game last year where the Packers came up against the 49ers, because this Rams team is a coach that came from Shanahan's coaching tree, and their defense is built similar, not the same. They obviously don't quite have the front seven that San Francisco had last year, but still have an incredible front seven. And they gave the Packers a ton of trouble. And like Lazar was saying, I don't think you can shut down Devontae Adams, but you can restrict him. And we've seen Ramsey restrict guys like Hopkins, like Metcalf, guys who were otherwise thought, you can't slow them down. But Ramsey's, in my opinion, if you gave me one corner to pick to start a team in the NFL, I would take Jalen Ramsey. He's one of the only true shutdown corners in the game. So again, their ability to get pressure up in Rodgers' face and then take away their number one target, the Packers are going to have a big game on the ground in order to win this game. Yes, yeah. Metcalf did have 2 TDs, but he did not have 2 TDs while facing Ramsey.
Now, some important things coming from the chat. One, that the Bakhtiari, who was placed on injury reserve on January 2nd, that will hurt them badly. Christian Larson saying Bakhtiari's absence will be felt, expecting a lot of quick tosses from Rodgers. And then we go to where the money is. And at this point, you have cash, huge amounts of cash, huge amounts of tickets, 87% and 85% on the Packers, but the chat not buying it. The under has 64% of the cash, but the over has 68% of the tickets, which would lead you to believe that there's some big bets on this under. Bebsy, this under here opened at 46, now at 45.5. Does it interest you at all?
Look, if I had a free play, I think I would take this under, just because I think regardless of who's starting at quarterback for the Rams, I don't see them putting up a ton of points. I think their defense steps up, frustrates Rodgers, slows them down. I still think Green Bay is going to win this game. I just think it's too many points to give them.
Very interesting. The team totals right now at Bet365 have the Rams at 18.5. The Packers at 27.5, heavily juiced to the under, minus 138. Now, what I did last week, and it worked out very well in the Bears game, was instead of taking the juiced 27.5, you just sell some points, and you could take under 26.5 at plus 100 if you wanted. 27.5 minus 138, 26.5 at plus 100. Pretty simple spot there if you did like that very juiced spot. The Rams to go under 16.5 is plus 130. So those points are worth 50 cents. Does anything, C-Mac, I love hearing that. I've gone blue in college basketball. Almac saying first half overs 11-5 in the last 16 NFL Divisional Playoff games going back to 2017. Birdie says if you can shut down Adams, shut down Jones, you are betting Tonyan and Valdez-Scantling are going to beat you. Valdez-Scantling, when the pressure is on, he drops passes. Bebsy, is there any move you want to make? And if not, what will you be looking at from a player prop perspective?
Obviously, if the Akers number is right, I'm going to jump on that. I think the fact that he was heating up and then kind of cooled off. He got hurt and then came back, and I think he's probably going to be leaned on quite a bit in the playoffs. So I think probably market-wise, that'll come in fairly low. And I'm obviously going to look at props like Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey didn't follow Metcalf around the field last week. I think he will follow Adams, even though Darius Williams is a tremendous corner in his own right. So, I'm probably going to have a good look across the board on these props. And, if Goff is starting, you got to figure he's going to lean on Cooper Kupp, even with the injury. I think Cooper's going to be fine. So I'm going to look at receptions for Cooper Kupp. And I am going to make a move because I think this probably I don't think this is going to stick around. I'm worried about Aaron Donald, and I'm worried that I might, lose some value on this line if the public keeps coming in on the Packers. But I'm gonna place a bet on the Rams with the points here.
All right. Well, let's line shop for you on odds.com. See what we can get you. You can get a +7 at minus 115 available at DraftKings. BetRivers and DraftKings are the only books left with 7s on the board. Do you want it?
Yes, I do.
Rams +7 minus 115. So if you like the Rams to cover, wouldn't that correlate with the under 45.5?
Yeah, like I said, I leaned to the under. I think that is probably the play because, look, Aaron Rodgers, as great as he is, and he has been on an absolute warpath all year, I really think that just the pressure that the Rams are able to drum up, he's not going to have a great day. I don't see Rodgers going off. I see him getting very frustrated because he's going to get hit, and especially with Bakhtiari out. I mean, that's huge. You're all-pro left tackle. That's a huge guy to not have in your lineup, especially facing a team with such a strong front. Look, even if Donald comes in and he's wearing a flak jacket and he's taking limited snaps, he's going to come in on passing downs, and then him and Floyd that's a tough combo to stop.
Wow.
Again, I believe, much like I said with the Bills and Indy last week, I said the Bills would win, the Indy would cover. I think it's the same situation here. I think Green Bay wins, but the Rams cover.
I think that the Rams are going to have a tough time putting points on the board. And if you and the other cappers in the chat are all bullish on the Rams, and we know the Packers are a very public play, then I don't see why I wouldn't take the Rams team total under and the full game under.
Well, I mean, another thing too is if the Rams come out sluggish, and my bet is garbage, you know exactly what Green Bay does when they go up. They run the clock out. They protect the ball. And, of course, against a defense like this, that's exactly what they're going to do. So, I mean, you'll be laughing if Green Bay goes up early.
There's no other team I prefer having with a lead and the under are the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers just slows it down. Well, very interesting. I don't remember a game all year where the entire chat, and it's not the entire chat, Mike Smith on Green Bay, but an enormous amount of cappers in the chat on one side and the entire public on the other.
Nilo disagrees with me as well, and Al Cervic seems weary of it. Look, I understand why you're not crazy to be on the Packers. The Packers are a phenomenal team, and as mentioned in the chat, they're rested. They're ready to go. And multiple people have brought it up, and I've said it all year. Rodgers is on a warpath. He's going to be incredibly difficult to stop. But again, both of these coaches are from the Shanahan tree.
David Sharp says, mind you, Green Bay didn't have the best rush defense. They had one good game at the end of the year. Can Akers be slowed down by this Packers rush defense?
Well, look, they slowed down Henry, but you and I talked about that while that game was on. Henry couldn't plant. He couldn't plant and make his cuts. So it was just straight ahead running for him, which favored Green Bay big time. All they had to do was trip him up instead of trying to stop him on those hard cuts, which is where he just destroys people. Like when he gets outside and there's some poor corner or safety that's got to come up and try and tackle him, and he gets to cut up into them, that's when they go flying. So the snow heavily helped out Green Bay in that.
Yeah, I remember that game very well. I remember conversing about that situation. Okay, well, I am making two moves here. I'm on the Rams team total under 18.5. So the props aren't up yet. And I'm on the full game under 45.5.
I might, before game time, I might tail you on that.
Bebsy is on the Rams +7 at -115, which is available at DraftKings. All right. We are in business. Christian Larson says concerns are Green Bay's condition to play in the cold. How will Goff some hold up in those conditions? Al Cervic says defense is why I'm leaning Rams, but I'm wary if Goff throws a duck or fumbles, it could get bad quick. And Gas Station Sushi says take the under in the Rams and Packers.
I honestly think if Wolford is healthy and ready to go, he's getting the start.
Agreed. Nilo says I'll even take the Packers -9. Wow. The Czar says Akers got punished last game. I wouldn't take his prop again. Do you feel like it took a lot out of him with that career day against Seattle?
Yes and no. I think if the prop is too high because of that, then yeah, I'm not going to stay off it. But he's a rookie. Those guys can still take a pounding and come back the next week. Again, it all depends on what it's set at. If it's set crazy high, I'm not going to touch it. But if it's still sitting around 70-ish, then I'm on it.
All right. Well, a very extremely interesting breakdown. I did not expect this chat to have so many cappers bullish on the LA Rams. There you have it. That game pops off 4:35 Eastern. The 4:35 p.m. Eastern NFC Divisional Playoffs